Outer space is all water. You're a better man than me. I didn't see him.
No, we does. Of course you didn't see what Nashville's cramming down everybody's throat, but if you don't like it, go listen to something else on Spotify.
Justin, we are live, man.
Awesome.
I left my phone in there, didn't I? Okay, good. Man, I'll get that damn phone in here, man, while I'm doing a podcast, and I'm like, people are texting me crazy stuff, especially if they know I'm doing one.
Yeah.
Because they just messing with me, Somebody sent me these freaking, I don't know, some meme about that whole thing that happened in Laverne with that woman out there. Did you hear about that?
No.
Why there's a problem with it, I don't have any idea. But, like, this woman, policeman, was freaking, she was letting the whole police force in on it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was like, and the husband's like, I'm sticking with her. I'm like, hey. You're a better man than me. Out the door you go. Anyway.
Work, team building.
It's just like, what is wrong with you people? So, man, I wanted to ask you, I'm totally like shooting from the hip here because, some people you meet in life, you feel like, you've known them your whole life, and you're one of those guys, man. We went out to lunch and stuff, and I saw you play. First, I want to talk about your career with Three Doors Down and how that's been. Mm-hmm. You guys are still touring a lot, or y'all playing a lot? Or
tour a little bit, kind of whatever they feel like doing, really. We've got a big one coming up through the summer. And just kind of got this time off now. So mostly doing my stuff, which is good that we have these breaks that we're not on the road like 300 days a year, because I wouldn't be able to do my stuff. But
and that's did you tour a lot in last year in 2022?
We were supposed to have kind of a light year, and we ended up doing about like 45 shows, I think, started back in like May through summer and fall.
Right.
So supposed to be a really light year. It ended up being a little bit more than a light year.
Just all fly dates, though?
No, we did a lot of bus days, a lot of stuff that you could get to, essentially from Nashville. And we had some fly dates, just for like one-off stuff here and there.
Right.
But we had a couple weekends that were 2 or 3 shows that we'd bus in and out of. Just why everybody's based in Nashville, so you can get to a lot of places easily.
Do you guys still have the same crew with you that you've always had?
We got 1 or 2 guys with,
I'm just curious.
We don't since we don't stay on the road, 365.
Right.
Kind of cycle some different folks out, because everybody, if you're going to be off for a couple months, then people usually just go find other gigs, especially in Nashville. It's a lot of people are touring, and after 2020, everybody hit the road. So,
who was touring with you this last year?
It was just us.
But I'm saying it wasn't any kind of support that you didn't have a support band.
No, pretty much every one of the shows that we did was
from that area. Yeah,
just like kind of an evening with kind of thing, and doing a lot of sheds and casinos. Special events for, like, we did a Miami air show and just kind of stuff like that, like
really?
Kind of fun stuff.
You say a Miami air show?
Yeah.
You talking about the jets and everything?
Yeah.
Dude, that's cool.
My dad, that's cool.
My dad should take me to all those things, man.
Yeah.
The Blue Angels, or was it the Blue Angels?
It was either the Blue Angels or the Thunderbirds.
Thunderbirds.
I can't remember which group. There's planes and helicopters and stuff all day for the 2 days that we were down there.
I don't get on the subject real quick, but I wonder if the Thunderbirds are still the same model as they were when I was a kid.
The F-16s. I think they fly F-16s.
They still are the same model. That's crazy.
I'm sure they're all updated, but I'm pretty sure the Thunderbirds fly F-16s, and then Blue Angels, I think they do 18s.
Wow,
could be wrong. But.
Dude, it's amazing to see that, though.
Yeah.
I love it, man.
It's we were down on the beach like during the day, just because we had some time in between stuff, and they would do these flyovers pretty much all day. And at times, like, they could turn it on and just like fly through pretty quick, and you obviously hear them because there's you're not stopping those engines from making noise. But whenever they would like throttle down, you'd have to cover your ears. It was like the loudest thing you'd ever heard. It was awesome. And then they'd take off and like do all the trick maneuvers and stuff.
Yeah, they. I remember when I was a kid, they had those ones that was real quiet too, like not the stealth, but they had this other jet that was freaking. I mean, like real. I mean, it could sneak up on you pretty quick if you were in battle or whatever.
Yeah, they had that day too. I love history and World War II history, and they had some older like prop World War II fighters out there, which was cool to see.
Flying Tigers and all that stuff.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah, I saw a movie the other night, man. Somebody on the podcast, I was like talking to him about that stuff, and I had said that the Germans had like jets, flying jet planes against our propeller planes.
Yeah.
At the very end of the war, and they were arguing with me about it, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure. And then the other night on this movie, I saw this thing, and sure enough, here comes a MiG coming through.
ME-109s, I think was
exactly
the first like jet fighters.
Yeah. So
they introduced them towards the end of the war. I think it was like 44 and 45. They started seeing them in combat in Europe.
Yeah, but our guys were still taking them out.
Yeah,
that's what's crazy.
Yeah, I think too, like they by then, like all of Germany's good pilots had been either killed or captured.
Right.
So they were putting anybody that they could into
the Axis was going down, baby.
And like, hey, like. This thing goes really fast. Go try it out. And I think they had some success early on, but then,
Well, I know we just get on here talking about nonsense, but since we're talking about it, have you freaking seen that Man in the High Tower, that series?
Yeah, I tried to get into it. I went back and rewatched it, and it's cool, like the alternative history stuff. But then, like once they. See, it was like the 10th time that they had gone back and.
Oh, I'm just getting into it, so don't let me know, man. Don't let me know.
I'm definitely not ruining anything because
but because I get in so wild. Late. Me and the LA just have that. We're watching. I've been watching that, and it's like, what's scary is if Hitler would have won the war.
Yeah,
you know, we all know he didn't die. He went down to freaking Argentina and lived his life out.
Yep.
And it's like that's pretty well known now. I mean, somebody said he was having coffee in D.C. like 2 years after the war. It was straight up him and all this stuff. Anyway, maybe
I don't know about some of that stuff. I know like the shows came out and like the Hunting Hitler TV series and all that stuff. And I think some of it, there's some validity to it. Like they had ways out and a lot of Nazis, like high up Nazis escaped to Argentina and Brazil and sympathetic countries to fascism. And especially like all through the Middle East, a bunch of them ran there and started all sorts of crazy stuff with people because they had very similar ideology and
people in the United States, though, man, they don't get like what real fascism is and what real communism is, and they don't respect the fact that we're the United States, and man, they should be happy to be here. It's like these people are complaining about our country. Well, then get the hell out of our country. If you don't like it here, get the hell out. Go see how it is in those other countries, and then we'll see how much you're not respecting our country. But anyway, I won't get on politics because that's not a good thing. Because if the thing about it is, man, is I don't care what you do as long as you're a good person, and it's like, if you want to freaking be an idiot, that's your decision as long as it don't affect me. And that sounds terrible, but you know how it is. I know we're not supposed to talk about politics on here. I don't want to get in Joe Rogan mode. We all know the deal. Anyway, back to the road. So how if you don't mind me asking, how big are the crowds? I mean, are y'all doing stadiums or y'all doing?
Definitely not stadiums. We've done those kind of big shows. It's a lot of sheds and amphitheaters, stuff like Ascend downtown.
Right.
We play a lot of that. A lot of the big like casino rooms, because they have like pretty much all the casinos across the country have entertainment, and a lot of them have pretty good size.
I bet
venues. So
2,000 or 3,000.
Yeah, 2,000 2 or 3, 3 to 5, something like that. Like pretty good size.
Right, because
I mean,
that man. Of course, we're just going to talk for a few minutes on the Three Doors Down thing. I want to talk about you as a solo artist, because that's why I wanted you to come on, because that's I want to start focusing on more country artists and stuff. And I think, I would love to produce some stuff on you. That's not why I got you on here. I'm not trying to. I'm not trying to sell myself on you, because I've been doing a lot of rock records. I'm number one this week again.
Oh, awesome!
I was number one last week. I got freaking had a number one at Thanksgiving. So the rock and roll business is good, but I want to. I've produced some country records and stuff, and freaking the Lowdown Drifters is one of my proudest works, and that thing never got signed to a deal. And we streamed, I think, 20 million, 30 million. I gotta get a plaque for it, for all the guys that worked on it, because we did some of it here in Nashville, but some of it there in Seattle. But anyway. I wanted to ask you, man, and just for people out there, man, because you're the bass player in Three Doors Down. What basses do you use for the road?
Thunderbirds. Play Gibson Thunderbirds.
You dude, that's freaking badass, man.
That's what I've always played.
Really?
Yeah.
No kid, because I've seen a couple pictures with you with those. So that's all you play?
Yeah.
Gibson Thunderbird basses.
Yep.
Wow, man. And what do you are you using amps on the road, or are you just using?
We've got like Fractal, Avalon, all that kind of stuff.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
We have a clean stage.
So you're using Axe Effects?
Yeah. So it's all just off the sides. And
well, I usually have an Axe Effects sitting in there, but I don't right now. Case has it. But have you seen the new Neural DSP thing? Man, I heard it's incredible. I'm thinking about getting one. And Kyle Odell over here, he's got a endorsement with him, so I can get one like for $1,000. I think they're like $2,400, but I think I'm gonna get one of those things, because, man, those things I hear the plug-ins sound great. I'm gonna be honest with you. Half the time I'll use the plug-ins of theirs instead of freaking the actual. No, and they sound great. Like Saldano amp sounds like a Saldano amp. Now, bass tones, they're lacking, though. I mean, as far as I'm concerned. But I was just wondering. But now you probably have, of course, you're in Three Doors Down, so they have. I mean, you probably got the best of the best, to play through and stuff. But I was just wondering what you used on the road and stuff. That's just something that my management and the marketing company wants me to do. So I'm just going to say that on the podcast. They want me to ask what kind of gear, all this kind of stuff like this. Yeah. It was funny because I know what kind of they said yesterday. I'm not making fun of my marketing company. I kind of am, but anyway, because they'll see this and I'm sure they'll be laughing.
There's certain stuff that I just like. I've never been like a gear guy with.
Right.
And like I like what I like, and that's just I'm not like a crazy collector or anything. I got some stuff that I
if you're using Thunderbird basses, I mean that's pretty collectible. I mean,
I got a couple of them.
Are they vintage? Or are they just new? Gibson makes them for you?
Nah, there's newer ones. The first one I got's 10 years old now. So
okay.
I'd like to find an old vintage one. That might be kind of cool.
Man, I'm gonna tell you what, man. I'm kind of jealous. Kyle has a Thunderbird that's a guitar,
Oh yeah, the Firebirds.
Firebirds, I mean.
Yeah, those things are awesome.
And the Firebird is because it's a ZZ Top one, man. That's the thing.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, my pops, he freaking lives right beside old Billy Gibbons out there in Las Vegas.
Oh, cool.
So he's, it's funny, the stories. Oh, yeah, I go over to his house and there's an amp set up in the garage and, there's freaking drum kits. What are y'all doing?
I can't imagine the kind of stuff that he's got piled up over there.
Oh, my God.
50-something years of them playing?
Ridiculous.
I can't imagine just the warehouse is full of gear.
I wonder, I want to ask you, like I said before we get on to it, because I really want to talk about you as a country artist, because I'm so looking forward to seeing that hit hard, and I think you will. And I do want to say something, though, because I got a friend that watches the podcast every time. His name is Clay Sisson. Dude, if he had long hair, you two could be twins. Oh, I'm not kidding either. I got to send you a picture of him. Matter of fact, he texted me last night because he was talking about the Taylor Swift thing that we did on here. And man, you guys are, I'm telling you, y'all are spitting image at each other, man. I mean, y'all are just alike. It's freaking incredible. Yeah, because when I look at you, I'm like, man, it's like I feel like I'm talking to one of my best friends. You know, I mean, I'm dead serious, man. He's a good guy too, man. But anyway, back to what I was saying, man. I was wondering, like where do you plan on going? Do you plan on getting a record deal with in the country? Do you plan on? Are you set on your direction? Are you set on all that stuff yet? Or, I mean, are you still looking? Or are you still?
I mean, I'd love. I mean, obviously, I'd entertain anybody who wanted to help. I think my main thing is finding people that want to like champion what I'm doing,
right?
And try to avoid the people that are just, you know, bleeding money or gonna sign you and shelf you, not let you put out music for a year, 2 years. You know, there's a lot of that. So I think it's not necessarily something that I've been like, oh man, I got to get signed, I got to do this. I'm like, I've got to put out music, right, and I got to go play my shows. Like that's the two kind of main goals that I have. And in that, like I've been putting out music, hitting Spotify, all that stuff. I'd love to get more things on radio. I know that usually takes the label side of it, but I don't know. I think the main goal I have now is just getting out and playing with my friends and, you know, opening for bigger acts. And I think if the label thing ever came up, it would be a blessing. It'd be very cool. It'd be something I'd have to navigate, but it's not something that I like wake up every day like, oh man, I gotta get a record deal. Gotta get a record deal.
Right.
I think the landscape of putting out music has kind of changed in that regard, where, you know, 20 years ago, it was an absolute necessity to have a record label. Now, I mean, people can do really well just putting their music out themselves.
Like Rick Monroe.
Yeah.
Rick Monroe is a good example.
Yep.
I mean, he's got $1 million a year thing going on. He plays, you know, and, you know, some years are bad, some years are good, you know, but I say, you know, I'm not trying to tell his business on my podcast. I'm going to say, I know they're all making good. 600,000 to freaking $1 million a year as a freaking an independent artist, man. Back in the day, that wasn't even heard of. I mean, man, you told me that. I mean, you know, there was a band called the Radiators. I brought them up on the podcast a few times. That had that hunt back in the day when I worked with. I engineered for Tom Dowd on a couple things, and probably the most legendary producer. And if I knew who he was. Dude, I was a shitty chicken, man. I'm telling you, man. I think about the guys I'm engineered for. I go, man, if I was so young, I didn't realize who he was. You know, he's cut all those big Skinner records, and my favorite artist, you know, of all time. You know, and dude, it's like we worked with him and Jim Dickinson on a band called the Radiators, and they had. Jim told me, he said, man, they have 100,000 people that buy their stuff every time. And they have this circuit that not like the Texas circuit, because, you know, as a country artist, I know you don't want to get caught up in that Texas circuit because then you're there, you know. But there are people, but
I'm fine with that though.
Yeah, but
that's a different realm, and it's
is that
I get down there and play a lot.
Do you really?
Yep, I played Texas. I'll be back there in March. It's one of the main places that I've been able to get songs on the radio because they like my sound and it fits down there. So I've got no problem hitting that circuit and being there. I mean, it's a kind of different appreciation for country music, I think.
But what's funny about the Texas circuit, that it goes all the way up through Montana, it goes all the way back down Idaho.
It's not just Texas.
It's not Texas, but that's what's crazy. It's like the Texas circuit is really, and that's where the low down drifters got caught in that circuit. And I think it's good, but then you have to look at the guys who came out of that circuit. You know, George Strait. Years, I mean, of course, that was years and years ago. But I'm saying though, there was somebody else that said, "What's that?"
Cody Johnson.
That's right. He did come out, but now he originally came from Worston, didn't he? I mean, that's where he was from. But he got in that Texas circuit and just started.
He's from Texas.
Oh, is he really? Okay. I don't know why I'm thinking. Man, you know what? I'm thinking of somebody else. I'm thinking of Cody Jenkins. I think.
He's from Texas too.
Is he?
Yeah, Cody Jenkins.
Yeah, Jenkins. Yeah. Wow.
I think he's from Fort Worth.
I need to get that guy on a podcast. I heard he was a Bigfooter. He you know.
Oh yeah.
Well, I heard Brantley Gilbert's a Bigfooter.
Maybe, I don't know. I've never met him. So
you're not a Bigfooter, so we can't get you on that one. Man,
jury's out on Bigfoot.
Man, not me. I think there's. You know what? When we get done here, I got to show you. I have a cast in there. A real cast of Bigfoot. But anyway, back to what we were talking about, because talk about your music. So I've heard traditional country out of you, and I've heard a little bit more pop country out of you, and that's why I was asking your direction. So I didn't want to throw you there. And how do you feel? How do you feel about the direction of country music right now? I mean, you be honest, because you know what, it ain't gonna hurt anything. Because I'm gonna tell you what, you know how it can turn any time.
Yeah, I see it. There's a lot more emphasis on that more. This more traditional Americana stuff is coming back around big time, especially in writing. And every time I get in a room with anybody, it's like, let's write 90s country. So I think it's like everything else. It goes up and it changes. In early 2000s and like mid 2000s stuff, like whenever Jason Aldean and Dierks Bentley were coming around, Eric Church, like there was like that hard turn into like this kind of rock country stuff.
Right.
And which got a lot of people back into country music because of that kind of mix of rock and country. So I think, I don't know. I think country is this weird thing that you can kind of do whatever you want. And there's not a whole lot of genres that have this kind of wide open thing of you can do this kind of poppy sounding one, you can do a funny song, you can do this like tear jerking dead serious song, drinking songs, all that stuff. It's kind of this weird realm that you can just kind of do whatever you want. You don't have to be angsty rock band and you're stuck for the rest of your career. All you got to do is put out sad, angsty, heavy songs about hating your parents and your life and everything sucks.
Right.
Like you can do a song like that, and then the very next one, it's, hey, it's the beach time, let's go drink and have fun. Hey girl, let's go to the bar. So it's a I don't know. I think, especially with country music, there's always been people that complain about it. No matter what new thing comes out, if people love it, there's always going to be like, it's not country.
Yeah.
Because I've heard interviews from like I don't remember because it was early '90s and I was like 4, but people complaining about Garth Brooks coming out and like this stuff that like
they did, didn't they?
Yeah, and now that's standard country music. Right. So there's always going to be people that complain about stuff, and I think I don't know. I don't have any problem with it. I think there's a lot of it that's not stuff that I would listen to, but there's room for it, especially now. I mean, it might be what Nashville's cramming down everybody's throat, but if you don't like it, go listen to something else on Spotify. I don't know. You got a million different places to get music.
Well, the reason why I was asking that is because I had said something to a rock and roll producer the other day. I'm not going to say who, young guy, of course, that country music was the most open, creative format there is. There's no real rules. It's like the Wild West. I mean, it is the Wild West. You got Morgan Wallen using Lynn drums like Prince with one acoustic and making, organ in the background with a bass, and it's a hit.
Yeah.
And then you got these Taylor Swift, type of things that are more pop and crossover to pop and stuff. I think is great.
And then at the same time, you got Cody Johnson, that's like pretty traditional
country,
and
just good songs.
Yeah. Then you got Luke Combs, that's got that like kind of little bit of a traditional sound, but then it's got that kind of 2000 rock thing. That's like, I think it's all about the songwriting and whether or not people like it. And it's pretty wide open format.
Just remind me, I gotta play you this band I just got through producing because you're gonna love it, man. I mean, seriously, sorry about that, Jackson. Well, he's got to cut all the
cut all the cuss words.
Well, for right now, man, we don't want to be one of those freaking channels that's like, you know, where your kids can't hear it.
Yeah,
stuff, you know, if your nieces and nephews want to freaking hear it, you know what I mean? They
I
can.
get that.
You're not worried about some kind of craziness. But anyway, every once in a while I'll go nuts on here, but he just edits it out. You know? I try to do the Alex Jones things like last night.
Oh,
didn't happen very well without saying a bunch of cuss words. And I'm like, he knows he's going to cut that out. But anyway, but no, what I got off track there for a second. But you know, I think like, okay, let me back up because I was going to ask you, do you think that Garth Brooks was to country what Nirvana was to rock in the grunge era? Because I mean, I'm just wondering what you think.
Yeah, I can see somebody making that argument. I mean, I don't know if he necessarily like totally changed the sound that was in Nashville, but like he was like that first like real country megastar.
Right.
Like there's a bunch of big artists and stuff before that, and George Strait was already huge by then.
Right.
But like the records he wrote with stuff and just the amount that he sold, like it like weirdly made country music and Garth Brooks like a household name.
It did.
All over the world. I don't know, I guess he was like, I don't know if he necessarily like changed country music, but he's definitely one of those like once in a lifetime artists. Like I think people are going to look back at him like Elvis, Michael Jackson,
I do too.
Garth Brooks.
I do too.
Like just insanely huge.
I've never got to really sit down and talk to him. He was across the street working in D years ago, and I threw a football to him. He was like this. We're out there throwing football, and threw it to me, threw it back, and you know, hey, how you doing? And that was about it. You know,
I've never heard a bad thing about him.
You know, but it was funny because he's like doing like this, like throw me the football. So you know, but no, I'm wondering because as a producer, I'm looking at things like here's what I love about producing country music. I get the best players in the world in a room. I have a choice of all the greatest songwriters in Nashville to choose from. You know, I have the best studio, the best microphones, the best second engineer, the best everything. You know, and I have this great singer that's got this thing about his voice that I can capture with this band. And then when you know about that second or third song, because you don't want to do the best ones at the first, and then about the second, all of a sudden everybody becomes a family, and like they've known each other their whole life, and it's just boom, 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 and it's like real vibe, you know. And then you're knocking out a record. You know, you can knock out a record in a day with these guys. I mean, you got Larry Franklin playing freaking fiddle. You got, you got some studs in there. Paul Allen playing guitar. You know, it's like the massive guys. You know, well, but now then I hear some productions that are more programmed, and I'm like, but then I look back when remember Leroy Parnell. Well, you know, I used to engineer this thing. You're going to laugh. I'm serious. You're going to laugh. When I was young, I got the opportunity to engineer this radio syndicated thing called Climate Country. And it was great because all these big stars would come in, like Steve Wariner, like guys, and would play an acoustic version. And I would record the acoustic version. And while he would let a kid that didn't know what the hell he was doing record this stuff, and I got to meet all these guys. Well, Barry Beckett, I recorded Climate Country, was a syndicated radio program, and was one of those brilliant things Tim Dubois was doing. I think he was involved, but I know he was involved with it somehow because I know that Arista Records, no doubt the best, I guess you would say, as far as like their record goes, like they were like always 20-0. I mean, they were always winning because they had that freaking syndicated radio promote, and whoever won the phones is who got the record. The 3-off deals. So they didn't really sign full record deals. They do 3-off deals, and then whoever won the phones on those deals, that's who would get the record deal. And they like Pam Tillis, and I got the opportunity to meet all those people and record them. But Leroy Parnell, it's like I freaked out because Barry Beckett, somebody I was super close to, God rest his soul, because he was such a good man. I love that guy. That first Leroy Parnell record that blew up, he programmed the drums on that. And I was like, what the hell? Are you serious? So it's like, this has been going on for years.
Yeah.
It's just when they start doing the Lindrum thing, like the Morgan Wallen thing, I'm not saying I know exactly how to produce it, because it's just not what I want to do as a country producer. I want to freaking get the guys in there and freaking start. Yeah. I like the changes at the last minute that's going to make a difference. That somebody comes up with an idea, and it's like where all of a sudden it's almost like a rock session in a way that. But they're smarter. They can get there. Not smarter. I didn't mean to say that. Rock bands are all clever guys, but where everybody's equal in the players realm.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the difference too. Is like whenever you do the country stuff, most of the time, unless you got like a stud player that's been with you the whole time that does session work, like you're gonna get the best of the best, or guys that have been just recording, banging stuff out every single day for the past 20 years. And with rock bands, you get whoever they grew up with, and that can be a great thing. It can be incredible, but a lot of times, like you're just kind of getting a mix of dudes that that might be the first thing I've ever recorded, and you just never know. Right. So, and I've been there. I've been recording in bands for a long time, and sometimes you go in, it's like,
so
what am I doing?
So you're from where now?
I grew up in North Carolina.
Man. Everybody's from North Carolina these days.
A lot of people. Folks.
Yeah. I had Peter Collins on here last week. We haven't released any of his stuff yet. But you know what freaked me out, man? This is interesting. Because I always looked at Rush, the band Rush, as these guys that probably went to Berkeley or Juilliard or somebody, some crazy freaking. Hell no, they're just regular musicians like me and you. They just freaking picked up a guitar and started playing. You didn't go to school, did you? You're not an educated bass player. Now, I did play string bass in the orchestra for a moment, and that was fun, but it wasn't rock, man.
Yeah, that's definitely not rock.
But anyway, so you're not really going for a deal, but if something happens, you're there.
Yeah.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years? I guess that's a better question.
Music on the radio and employing a band full time and getting out and playing my music for people.
That's where you want to
writing, recording, doing all that, and then whatever we're doing with Three Doors.
What do you suggest, man, to those young people out there listening about as far as trying to get where you're going in as a rock band? What do you suggest? Get with the right guys.
Yeah, you got to surround yourself with good people. That's pretty key. The longer I do this, the more you got to have trustworthy, business-minded, professional people that you're surrounding yourself with in the band and business, all that. It's a lot more important than you see in the early days when everybody's just partying and going and playing music.
Right.
So as things progress, those people either really weigh you down and inhibit you from moving forward, or you get rid of them. So there's
right.
You gotta find the right people to be around. I think that's pretty important.
Yeah, I tell Jackson all the time. I tell him, I'm like, and this isn't me bragging. I'm saying though, I walk with giants. Jeff Hansen manages me, but Richard Williams is always over here hanging out with Denny Sanders all the time. These managers that's manage massive artists. And that know what the hell's going on, and that I'm proud to be hanging out with, and I can learn from them. It's like, and I'll worry about the future of rock more than I do anything, because it's computer driven and soulless and plastic, and that's why I want you to hear this band Fever Slip I just produced, because it is made of wood and steel.
Cool.
I've rehearsed them in here for 3 weeks, wrote songs 3 weeks, and we went over there to 1979 and cut the tracks analog.
Cool.
I didn't, And the thing about it is I've learned a lot because it's been years since I got to cut a record analog. And I'm telling you, I don't regret it one bit. I'm so happy I made those moves. And it's funny because I guess Paul Ebersole kind of inspired that. He was the first guy that produced your band. I don't think you worked with him.
A little before my time.
But that was the very beginning.
Yeah.
But anyway, well, man, I was going to ask you something else. So you don't believe in Bigfoot?
I don't not believe in Bigfoot. I don't know. I don't know. That's a tough question.
Me, I'm always asking everybody crazy questions like this.
I think maybe at some point there was something left over,
right,
from some kind of unknown cryptid or something that was like a creature that used to be walking around all the time, and their numbers dwindled, and I don't know.
I know, but
it's such a tough sell for me with a lot of that stuff. Like, I love talking about it. I love the idea of ghosts and cryptid creatures and all aliens, all that kind of stuff. But I've got growing up, I had a bunch of friends that were really into it and wrote books about it, and they were on TV shows. And my buddy Micah, he still has a podcast. I think it's Micah Hanks Project now, but he was like one of the first dudes to really like get into podcasting, like a long time ago.
Really?
And it's always been about alternative history and weird science and cryptids and stuff. And he's like super skeptical about everything, but he always has like a good kind of take on it and brings up different stuff. I've listened to his podcast a bunch, but just check it out if you get it.
Well, I'm glad you like In Between, because you can't be a couch observer. I hate these people who just sit on a couch. I went and hunted Bigfoot in Worston and Darrington, Worston, and I didn't see him, but
nobody does.
but I gotta say,
of course you didn't see him.
But Justin, look now, hang on here. Here's the problem. When I went up there, I'm in the middle of a rainforest and there's no animals there. This was where Monster Quest did their investigation. I walk out the back door here in the morning and there's squirrels running everywhere, wildlife. Dude, I'm in the middle of a freaking one of the biggest rainforests in the world, and there's no freaking, we're leaving our food out there on the table. There's no raccoons coming out. There's no squirrels. There's no freaking birds. You can't even hear a damn bird. It's like, it was one of those places where I just went, there's something not quite right here, because they're hiding them from something.
Yeah.
Or something's eating all of them, But, me, I think Bigfoot's a migrating species. It migrates, because they couldn't survive in one spot. Anyway, I got a whole crazy theory on it, because everybody thinks I'm nuts, but I believe totally. I think there's too much evidence saying that. But this interdimensional being thing,
I don't know.
Or they're aliens. I might have to go over there.
I think most of it would be misidentification, because there's 5 million creepy videos of bears. Have you ever seen a bear run on 2 feet when it gets scared?
Right.
And I mean, I think a lot of it is probably that, because grizzlies, brown bears, they get pretty big. And I think anybody, like if you just had your casual person out in the woods, like a hiker, maybe not a hunter because they'd probably know the area a little better, but like the people are just like, oh my God, I saw a Bigfoot. And it's like, maybe you saw a bear standing up. Those things are like 10 feet tall standing up, and you startled it and it took off. I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm saying some of it, I think, like the way it's presented on a lot of TV shows.
Right.
And like the people are out there like, we're hunting Bigfoot. There he is. It's a squatch in the woods. Like, I can smell him. Like, here's my squatch call that I made at the house. You're like, come on.
Yeah,
like,
it's pretty silly. But that's why nobody believes
it's the same thing
in
with
it,
it's the same thing with aliens. Like
Right.
Yeah, I know like the landscape's kind of changing now because the Pentagon's putting stuff out, and you got more like the Tic Tac stuff and like pilots and like kind of a little more reputable people, not the guy on Ancient Aliens with the crazy hair that's like, it's clearly an alien.
Everything's
aliens built this. Like,
look at this table.
Really?
It's perfectly like this. Has to be aliens.
Yeah, I got friends that like you know I cared deeply for, and you will not convince them otherwise. They're like, have you seen that show? Of course, aliens built the pyramids. It's like, really? Like, why is it? Why isn't it more just incredible that humans built it? I think that's more incredible. I think it's wow, that's amazing that back in the day, you know, thousands of years ago, somebody figured out how to build this. That's more cool to me than like aliens came down and helped them with their beams. Like, really?
But why doesn't people just read the Bible? Because in the book of Enoch, it says who built the pyramids.
Yeah.
But they excluded that from the Bible because it was too alien driven, I guess you would think. So you would say. But no, I'm serious. Like, but why don't they just go, hey, man, the Nephilim and Enoch, they were the ones who built the pyramids. It says it in the book of Enoch. It's like, even because it's lit, I mean, I'm one of those guys that freaking, I dig hard, you know. I know Christ was the Son of God because of all the other things around it, not just because of the Bible. But that's my belief. That's my belief. You know, I don't know how you believe, but I just know that that's what I have found. And it was the Roman text who made me go, okay, well, this Jesus dude was the dude, you know. But you know, there's other religions, you know, like. But anyway, I won't get into religion too hard. I'm just saying, if you just read and do your looking up, it's like that's why. But no one ever brings that up because they don't want to think that the Nephilim was real, which was half angel, half man, and they were giants, and that would explain how they could get those big blocks up there.
Maybe.
But why is all these other pyramids falling down? That's my thing. I think that the other pyramids were copying those three pyramids because they're all in ruins.
They were older.
Right.
The ones in ruins were older. So
you think so?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
so the ones that are falling down were like the ones that were building before they got to.
So you don't think that the Great Pyramids were before the Great Flood?
I don't know the timeline on that.
Well, that was Noah, so that was 10,000 years ago. So, and did you hear about all that stuff was going on with Noah's Ark and all that?
Mm-mm.
Well, the Turkish people, man, the Turkey is letting them in there to excavate it now, and the ark,
the thing they found up on the mountain.
Yeah, and it's
long time ago.
Well, it looks from satellite and from pictures.
Yeah, it's shaped like it. Yeah,
and it's the exact dimensions, and they took. You know, the ground penetrating radar or whatever shows that there was 4 levels, just like the Bible says. And I think it's hilarious because it's right where this Bible says that it was landed, you know, exactly, Mount Ararat or whatever. Anyway, I just think that's so interesting. So
it's fascinating.
So you don't think these Navy pilots that seen these alien aircraft, you don't think that they're alien aircraft? Or you think that they're I ask everybody this, even off the freaking podcast.
Yeah, no, I mean you got a Bigfoot and a spaceship on your podcast now. And I figured we were going to probably touch on this subject at some point. Just a wild guess.
Just a wild guess. Well, man, it's not always about that, but I do think it's funny because
no, it's fun. I love talking about this stuff.
Well, I just like to get especially famous people's point of view on what they think those Navy pilots are seeing. Do you think it's us or do you think it's them?
My opinion is it could be something from somewhere else. Because I do think that it'd be crazy to think that there's not something else out there. The galaxy, the universe is so massive. All that stuff. I mean, there's planets everywhere, like uncountable amount of planets around uncountable amount of stars.
Right.
I think if it's anything from their descriptions, it sounds like it's some kind of like a drone almost, like what we would envision as a drone.
Right, right. I agree.
They're all saying it's these squares that are encapsulated in like this
Yeah, what
something
is up with
way
that?
like they all have a real like the shapes are kind of different, but a lot of them have the same uh, same descriptions and same movements and all that kind of stuff. And that would make more sense to me. I mean, we send stuff off our planet all the time, so
Right.
to go do exactly what that thing would be doing, it just seems like it's a way more advanced technology of like our version of stuff. So I doubt that there's like a little person in there driving it. But
I have
I
to
mean, like
I'm not laughing, but I am laughing because the G-force would be so great it'd smash them. But unless they have the technology to
yeah,
control gravity,
I
and
could
I guess
yeah.
they do, whatever it is, it's that form of technology. But I was wondering if you thought that if you thought that that was biblical because anyway, do you think they're the watchers? Do you think that maybe these are what they called in the Bible the watchers? Because we've been seeing the same thing for 100 years.
I don't
So
know. I mean, it could be connected. I mean, throughout human history, like every civilization has stories of these things that have come from the heavens. Like they either interacted with them or were in the skies and all that kind of stuff. So I think that aspect of it's just part of human history. It's part of the human story that there was things in our sky that we didn't understand. So it could be the same ones. It could be a new version of the old one. Um,
right.
yeah, I think. I mean, they could all be connected.
See, I've got a feeling that it is somehow because
Could
like
be.
whatever like I said, I shouldn't get religious, but I'm saying though, man, it's just funny how all that is said, and I have a friend that I called not long ago and talked to him. We had a buddy pass away, and we were talking for a long time. He used to engineer for me, and I said, well, what do you think about this? He goes, man, that doesn't matter to me. I don't care. It's
Yeah.
like to me, it's like, well, isn't that what like we're here for? Is to be curious about things, and is speaking of that high tower thing, is there alternate realities where um me and you met 25 years ago or 20 years ago somewhere, we got in a band together and became rock stars. I mean, and I
Yeah.
was 10 years, well, I'd have to be a lot younger.
Yeah.
but I'm saying though, man, who knows like um what this life is here, what we're here I know what we're here to do and to be better people and everything. Um do you listen to Jordan Peterson any?
Mm-mm.
Man, he changed my life. But see, I had a lot of problems too. You seem like you have your life together big time. But me, I was out of control and, doing drugs and acting like a moron. And I had bad habits. And I watched, you ought to check out Jordan Peterson. You love him. I
Yeah,
mean,
I've heard him on like Rogan's podcast and stuff.
yeah, man, he's amazing. And, but, like the 1% rule. Every day I'm going to get 1% better. And man, I tried it for a year and it worked for me.
Yeah.
Don't lie about anything. Tell the truth about everything. Besides what your wife is wearing. What your old lady's wearing. Do not freaking tell her the truth. Sometimes. But now it's just like I've gotten to where I can say, hey, well, baby, I mean, maybe I'll try that black dress thing I got you or whatever, but you've met her, but, because she's real redneck. And, I'll call my old lady redneck because she's as redneck as it gets. And, but anyway, but no, it to me, it's good to see someone. Do you have any like advice to any of these young artists out there? Keep plugging away, or is it? I mean, did you know when? Okay, put me back up here. Did you know this is where you were going to go?
No, I knew it's where I wanted to continue and keep building on. I don't think I ever like. Well, obviously, like you dream about stuff all the time, but I think like in reality, I was never like I'm gonna be the next Keith Urban. That's what I'm gonna do. That's my goal. I just like always wanted to work and make music, and I think that was. I'm sure it was a lot more complicated, but like vocalizing it, that's what I always wanted to do. So that's kind of what I work towards. I always have other jobs, different stuff going on, but like I guess the advice I would give and what I've said in the past is, take all the opportunities that come up, because you never know what's going to be the thing that moves you forward. And, hone your craft, practice as much as you can, and do it because you love it. Don't do it because you're trying to get a record deal. Don't do it because you're trying to be famous, because nothing will ever live up to that. And you're doing it for the wrong reasons. So if you love it, like, you got to treat it like a painter, or, somebody that does sculpture. It's art. And you have to love the art that you make at the end of the day above everything, because this whole profession is the most frustrating, stupid thing you could ever get into.
I agree totally.
If you ever want to make money and be secure and sleep well every single night,
that's the wrong business.
Do not go into the music business.
Yep, that's the wrong business. You
have to do it because every day you get up and there is the passion in your heart to make music. And I think it's the same thing. Like, if you want to be a painter, you got to really love painting, because that is not an easy life either. And you can have insane success or be an abject failure until the day you die and some random person finds your work and like, oh, this person, like, this was way above before their time. And it happens all the time. Van Gogh, I think, was a big, one of the
best examples
greatest painters of history. And I don't think he made money while he's alive, got his ear off. Like, there's you got to have the right mindset, the drive for it. And if you're doing it because you love it, you're going to be happy, and things will fall into place. And if you love what you do, you'll be all right. So you'll figure stuff out. People want to be around you. People want to work with you because you're not a dick. And if you're doing it because you want to get famous, then
probably ain't gonna happen.
Maybe find something else to do. Go be on a reality show. I don't know. Go try out for something else. If you just want to be famous, if that's what you dream of every single night is the fame and the fortune and being an influencer, then go do something else.
Right.
This life ain't for you. Because there's going to be times where 6 months goes by and you feel like nobody gives a crap about anything you're doing. You haven't heard from people. You don't get emails returned. You don't get shows. Like, there's going to be a block of time where stuff feels pretty dark. Yeah. And it's a big roller coaster. And you got to be able to hit those lows and just keep grinding.
Because you love doing it.
Because it's what you do. And I think you have to get to that point mentally and spiritually and just do it because you love it and figure the rest out. And I see that constantly with the way everything always changes in this business. You have stuff that, like, you work on for years and you put it out. And like now, I think a easily relatable thing with other artists is putting out songs on Spotify. That's like king right now, is getting songs on Spotify, getting those curated playlists, and getting those streaming numbers up. Because that's all I hear about from anybody that does business stuff. It's like, what are your TikTok numbers? What are your Spotify numbers? All that stuff. And you can work on something and be like, this is the best stuff I've ever recorded. And you put it out and it doesn't get any Spotify playlists. It doesn't that feels pretty hopeless whenever you're like, I worked a year, I spent all this money, it's like the best songs I've ever written. And you have to, in those moments, be like, all right, this is just going to keep on going, keep on putting out music, keep on doing it because I love it, and screw this other stuff. Don't even let it linger over you. Like, you got to be able to do that, and a lot of folks can't. And
it's ones that lose.
Yeah, and I think that's the only like God-given talent that I've had, is being able to, like, kind of stay positive and focus past that stuff. Like, everything else I got to, like, really work hard at. I got to work hard at singing, got to work hard at playing. Like, I didn't go to school for it. I can't read music, all that kind of stuff. But the day I can get up and be like, all right, cool, let's
rock.
Let's just keep going. Let's figure something out. And knock on wood, Inevitably, something happens. You'll have dry spells where nothing's going on. You're not getting texts. You're not getting calls back about shows. You're getting declined for stuff. People are telling you no. And eventually you hear yes. Eventually you get something cool. You get a cool opening slot. You get a good show. You get people that want to write. You get these little things. You got to be able to take all those little things and put them together. And
then it happens.
Make it that.
Then it happens. Man, dude, thank you so much for coming, man.
Oh, no problem, man.
I sure appreciate it, man.
Appreciate you asking me.
So do you, let me ask you one more thing. Do you just want to just play and gig and freaking, your goal is just to stay being an entertainer?
Yeah. I think that's.
And then everything else will fall in.
Yeah. I think that's
a great way to look at it.
You got your short-term goals, but long-term, I just want to be, I want to be 90 and still up there playing and playing for folks. Man. And I take that mindset and I think I put it in, the short-term goals. I take care of myself, work out, take big time off of drinking. I'm not drinking this month. There's certain stuff, try to maintain that. Like, I still want to be doing this. I don't ever want to retire from playing music. I want to still be writing, recording, whatever that turns into in, 50 years when people are just like instantly downloading music to their brain and they never leave their house because they got on, VR headsets. And
I know, man.
That's
so crazy.
Just a brain. I don't know. Whatever that landscape is in another 30 years, who knows?
Do you feel the metaverse is going to happen, or do you
hope not?
I hope not either.
I think there'll be plenty of people that dive into it and get weird, and it'll be like a movie where everybody just, they're sitting on the couch, but they're like multimillionaires running around and driving Lamborghinis and doing weird stuff in the metaverse, but they're actually just like
sitting in a shack.
Yeah, some dude in a shack in a little tiny apartment in New York. It's all creeped out.
That's
and then I think there'll be other people who are just like, cool, you guys do that. We're going to go keep doing what we're doing.
Right.
You guys have fun. We're going to go.
You guys have fun pretending that you're with a hot model that isn't there. I mean, that's what I'm not trying. I'm trying, me, of course, everything relates to sex when I'm thinking things. So it's like I'm not getting that one. I mean, it would have to be a weird thing, It would be really weird. I mean, I don't even know how they would pull that one off.
I don't want to know how they pull it off.
Me neither. Because I'm,
I guess that would be the thing. You'd just be pulling that one off.
When are you playing next? What's your schedule like this? I
got some solo stuff coming up February. I think up in Indiana, and then Three Doors. We got one show playing in Universal for their Mardi Gras event. We've played it before. It's like in the park. It's always fun. We go run around Harry Potter World. And then in March, I'm doing a run through Texas. Got some good shows. I played quite a few places in Texas. And then
you have a band with you now?
No, I still just do solo acoustic. I got some like harmony pedals. It's just easier for me to travel right now. I got a bunch of players I put together, but do stuff in town. Like whenever I'm like putting together a run of shows in Texas, I just right now I just don't have the stuff. Like I need a band, I need people, that kind of thing. So that's another, I guess, short-term goal is getting folks out with me and
getting like a band together.
Because too, like with my stuff, I need fiddle, pedal steel, bass, drums, guitar, like all that kind of stuff. So I need a fairly substantial band to pull it off the way I want to and the way my stuff's recorded and the sound that I have. So,
right. What producer are you working with right now?
Jamie Tate, right down the road.
Jamie,
over at Ruckus.
Yeah, heck yeah, man.
Yeah, I got a hooked
That's
up.
a real country producer too.
Oh yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, that's a real country producer, and I might call myself not a real producer. I'm gonna say I'm a rock producer.
He's worked on some heavy hitters for a long time.
Yeah,
he's been over there for 20 years. So,
you know Kent Wells?
I don't think so.
Dolly Parton's he's band leader for he's the one that's producing Artemis Piles, and so he's coming on here. This next week. So I have
probably you got some stories.
I got a producer coming on every 2 weeks or so, and then a great engineer, Chuck Ainley's coming on. And I'm trying to, we're not an engineering production, just artist freaking podcast at all. Of course, I love to get everybody's views on aliens. It always it stimulates my mind to think about all this stuff. And
it's a lot of fun. It is a fun if you get the right people talking about it. It's a lot of fun. If you get like the crazy like I've been abducted from my whatever, like no, please don't.
No, listen.
Don't tell me you've been abducted.
Oh, hell no. I kid around about it every once in a while. I go, because I had a sore in this ear when I because I farm in Missouri where I'm from. And I was out at the farm staying after I had some bad things happen. So I ended up going to my grandmother's staying at the farm. And I had a sore right here in my ear. And I was like, man, what the heck is that, And then about a week later, I had a sore in exactly the same spot over here. And I told my old lady, I said, I know what it is. They came down here, they abducted me and they put this thing in my ear. And then the boss up there went, hey, y'all did something wrong, man. Get down there, get him again. Let's put the other one in the other side.
You got to put it in the wrong side.
There's no way these readings can be right. There's no way this is right, But no, I kid around. I tell everybody I'm from another planet because humans I can't see. My people, there's no way they do like these humans do, man.
I did a podcast a couple years ago. My buddy Ryan, he's got a little studio over it's called The Hideout. It was a studio that Waylon used to own back in the day.
Right.
And it's below a house.
Oh, yeah. I've done a podcast with him, too.
Yeah, Ryan.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
Great guy. But I was like, I think like it was like first, second guest, something like that. And played some music for him. And we sat down and we're all talking. They'd do this thing. It was like hot chicken and beer. So like everybody was like,
right.
Trying, and we'd sit and talk. And the first thing he was like, man, like, tell me something interesting about yourself. And I was like, well, I'm a flat earther. And they were like, and I just kind of ran with it and kept kind of talking. And it was like just deadpan flat earther. And they were like, all right, well, and then I was like, I'm not really. They were dying laughing.
And I'm not making fun of my friend, but Jason Noel from Saving Abel.
Oh no,
he came on here and did a whole flat Earth podcast. You've got it. I sent it to you.
Did you?
I'll send it to you again because I wanted you to see it because I knew you'd get a kick out of it, and not making fun of him at all because his thing.
Was he serious?
Oh, he's dead serious.
Oh no.
No, hey, listen, he's dead serious and he is dead set on that NASA is a bunch of actors. And that's just they're
all 450,000 employees there. All
and hey, listen, and they're doing that to steer us away from God. And and he thinks it's biblical. He thinks that now I don't want to quote him. You got to see it because he thinks that outer space is all water. Listen, Jason, I'm sorry. I know you're going to watch this. I love you. But outer space is not water.
Jason. Man.
He is a sweetheart of a guy. I love that guy so much. He's a good friend. But, and his thing is the moon is not solid. But do you think we went to the moon? We can sit here all day long. Do you think we went to the moon?
Yeah, absolutely.
I do too. I mean, I don't understand why that would be.
The flag's still up there. There's a bunch of people. I mean, this is my main thing with conspiracy theories, with all that stuff. I think there is a lot of messed up stuff that happens in our government. It's crazy. That kind of stuff, though, I think there's too many people involved in that.
There's too many.
At the time of the moon landings, there's 450,000 people at NASA. You don't think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? I mean, nowadays, everybody in the White House, the president farts and everybody hears about it.
Right.
It's then there's too many moving parts for some of that stuff. And I know I get crap from some of my friends because they're like really into it. And I'm just like, man, I just can't buy into some of that stuff.
Me
and
neither, man.
Who was it? The Rothschilds or somebody sunk the Titanic because of the World Bank and all this stuff. And I'm like,
boy,
I just don't know. Like, there's too much. Like, but there's a lot of messed up stuff in history. CIA was definitely in on the JFK thing. There's stuff.
Right. I
think that they can manipulate on certain levels. Right. Moon landing. No, I don't. That's too far out of the realm. But I feel like with that stuff and the same arguments with these like grand conspiracy theories, it's like they can manipulate everything. And then in the same argument, it's like, look how stupid our government is. Look how they can't get anything right. They can't get websites right. They can't get voting right. They can't get any of this shit right. Stuff right.
What?
But they can orchestrate a worldwide, multi-year, billions of dollar cover up for something.
Right.
And it like you can kind of twist that stuff to whichever argument you want to make, I guess.
But wouldn't this flat earth thing go back to what was that guy's name that figured out that we were revolving around the sun? Well, okay, now listen. And like I said, I got this Christian band that I work with. They live out in Arizona, and I will make fun of them. They think that the sun is like a flashlight.
Okay.
But what I'm trying to figure out, though, man, I'm trying to figure out
I'm learning some stuff today.
Why would, like, if you live in Alaska, there'd be like only 2 hours of daylight sometimes, and it'd be then 2 hours of dark half the year. Why wouldn't a flashlight go all the way around the son of a gun and freaking I'm just trying to look. I'm just trying to figure it out, man, because I'm not trying to. And over those, and the Antarctica, those mountains in Antarctica, well, they surround us. And over those mountains is where the
real stuff's going on.
The demons and the whole other thing is happening.
Gotcha.
I was like, well, what about these pictures in outer space, though? I mean, what about the pictures of the Earth in outer space? And then I swear they say, oh, those are just made up pictures. Those are just they're dark. Okay, so here's my thing. If I was going to get a picture of my ass put on national TV, well, of course I would have somebody with Photoshop make it look nice. I mean, I'm serious though. It's like, you're not going to want to make it look nice. I mean, if it's a photographer that's a professional photographer or anybody that's got any kind of, they're going to try to, even take a picture of me, you're going to want to take the mold off. You're going to want to, make sure I'm all good looking good. I mean, that's what we do in every picture. So why wouldn't we, the Earth, if we took a picture of it? That's what I'm saying. It's like, I just don't understand the flat Earth thing. I think at this point,
I don't understand it either.
I've heard that it was a bet between two billionaires. And one of them said, I can convince people I'm the best salesman on the planet. He goes, oh, yeah, well, what? He goes, I'll bet you so much money, I can convince half the world that the Earth is flat. And he goes, no way. So he goes and starts his flat Earth thing.
That's more believable. That's a more believable story. It was just two people like, hey, I'm going to go mess with some folks.
Yeah. And because there are things, that, there's all these conspiracies that are like, JFK definitely had something to it, and that's why I think it's talked about a lot, JFK talked about, there's all kinds of different conspiracies, but what is funny about that alien whole thing is I've been told there was that guy from Kentucky that was, God dang it, what was his name? He predicted all these things, and he said when there will be in the year, this is one of the years, and when there will be a pandemic, like said the year, and God dang it, who was that guy? Remember, he was just he predicted all these things. It was like ridiculous. And then the last thing on the list is that they'll set up a thing for aliens, and it's all this deception, stuff. And I don't know what they're trying to get us to focus else on. But I know when something comes out in the press, they're trying not to get us to pay attention to this, what's going on, because the war, I had a Black Hawk pilot on here as an old friend of mine, was completely, wasn't really any sense in it. We really, and I say that war, I guess, was it Desert Storm and all that stuff? Was that the same thing? I don't even know. I just know. I don't think our government is evil. I think that they just are ignorant sometimes. And just like they get fired up like a football team. Let's go get them. It's like, come on, man.
I think on that aspect, it's 100% greed driven.
You think it's greed driven?
Yeah. I think
money,
like especially with like all that stuff you can get into like military industrial complex, all that stuff that
which Eisenhower
warned everybody about because it's really profitable to go to war. Extreme for a group of people that is extremely profitable, and it's been talked about since early mid 1800s. There's I'd have to look at it. I don't even want to do it do it an injustice, but there was a book written, I think it was in the 20s, and it was a guy kind of talking. It was a story kind of written in the voice of war, and like talking about what it would do and how it profited from all this stuff, and that was written 100 years ago.
Right.
So it's just gotten bigger, stronger. I think it's an unstoppable thing at this point. I mean, there's always going to be some kind of crazy conflict that people are getting in.
Well, let's just hope it ain't like Rome and we have a general take over our military and freaking go against, our capital. And, because that's how Rome fell. It was Julius Caesar who did it, And, but we're just going to attack our own freaking capital. And then they went, whoa, okay. And then, but anyway, that I'm interested in because, in a conspiracy that may happen is very well, because really who runs the military is who runs the country. I mean, and it ain't the president.
Definitely not this one.
Don't get me started there, man. I should have seen you that meme I had. I don't care. We can edit this if you want to, but no. But it had Joe Biden, in a freaking Santa Claus outfit, and then it said "Happy Easter."
I've seen a bunch of those.
You gotta say, dude, I laughed so hard I was crying. Buddy might said that to me. I was laughing so hard because it's about right. You don't even know what holiday it is. The poor guy. Man, we got to do something about this. But hopefully, 24 will change that stuff around.
Hopefully, I mean, we'll see. We'll see whoever they.
They're
tell us they're putting in.
They're trying to bury that one guy. I saw it on the news today. Did you see that?
I don't typically watch.
I don't either, but I have been since we started the podcast because I've been trying to keep up with what's going on in the world. But half the stuff you see on the news is just complete. I mean, it's not even close to the truth.
No.
Not even close. And that's the same thing you see on Instagram and Twitter and all that stuff. Man, you gotta just.
It's curated for you. Whatever your bias is, it's like there's algorithms that push that stuff to you, and then I'm sure you gravitate to a certain news organization more than you'd watch other ones. And then they're all 24-hour news organizations, so they're just filling time like you would in any other TV show.
Right. Well,
you're not getting that, You're
not really getting it.
6 o'clock world news anymore.
Some of them guys are up against lawsuit
24/7.
So they're, Yeah. Well, look, I got one more question for you. All right. Okay. So. And this, I've been asking everybody this. Forgot to ask Rick this last night. But here you're talking about touring the country, playing everywhere. If Elon Musk settles Mars, are you going to play up there? Are you going to go on tour on Mars if we colonize Mars?
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Heck yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Everybody else has been, hell no, I ain't going nowhere.
I mean, as long as they can get me back and we'll go up there and play.
As long as there's beer and freaking places to play, man, I'm ready to go.
Yeah. as long as they can get me back.
As long as they can get you. But see, that's what
get me there and back. We're good.
Man, I don't know how long the journey would be there right now, but I think it would be.
It's like 3 or 4 months or something.
Surely it's not that bad much.
I think it takes a long time to get to Mars.
3 or 4 months.
Pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that I mean, I could be way off on that. I'm not a scientist, but I feel like I've heard like that's the time it takes to get everything's really spread out. Like,
right.
Even our like close planets are really far away.
Well, I know they're building something right now on the moon. The jump starter's still over there.
Yeah, they'd have to have something else.
Yeah, all this, we haven't been back to the moon yet. Man, we've been on the moon for years, man. You can see buildings on the moon. I mean, I'm not kidding either. Like, and it's not aliens. It's, I think
our stuff that somebody's building.
Oh yeah. It's like everybody's like, I don't know where we're going back to the moon. Hey man, if you were a billionaire, I mean, multi-billionaire, and there's a bunch, and you want to have the perfect bachelor pad, it would be the moon, man. Can you imagine dating some shit going, hey, let me take you to the moon tonight? What? You go up there, man, you get in your condo, man, you look at the earth and be like, it ain't flat.
Yeah. I guess that's, that's great. I mean, I guess that is kind of the next, mega billionaire flex is off-world stuff. Be the first guy that's got a, space yacht.
Then though, when when our billionaires can mine comets and mine freaking asteroids, that's when the people, it really divides. The middle class is going to become the poverty, and then the high class is going to become super high class.
Yep.
And then it's move off this planet because we're all going to kill ourselves with atomic bombs. Let's hope to God not.
Yep.
Anyway, thank you so much for coming,
no
man.
problem.
There's a dozen more things I could ask you, but man, we've been here for a while, man. Thank you so much.
Hey, appreciate it, bro.